And at the end of the day, I can't take people who, look at their cars under a microscope every day and say, oh, look at this, look at that, because at the end of the day, do you really look at your car like that every time you look at it? No, it's you put it on your shelf, and then that's where it sits for the rest of its life. You probably take it out for a couple of pictures, but that's about it.
Off to a lot of people being able to get these diecast cars. It's moving out there, it's getting out there, a lot of people's hands. Some of the things that some people talk about are QC issues. Now the way that I've explained QC issues to some people, or tried to explain at least, is that hey, it's going to happen to somebody. Somebody's going to get their car pulled, unfortunately, and you're going to have that problem. The other side of it is, how do you handle it after that? So what are your thoughts on QC issues and how that affects the collector's market? Because you're paying a premium price for this stuff, you want to have a good product.
It's a tough one, because I personally understand how people feel about having to spend money on something. But again, when you're working with brands like Tarmac Works and Mini GT, they really push the envelope when it comes to trying to get good QC out. And when they fail, they do make an effort to fix the problem. I mean, Tarmac Works, they had a bit of a problem for the last the first 3 years of their when they were created. Their first 3 years was very shaky because of the fact that they had so many QC issues. But they put together a team. They spoke to their factories. They got their factory put together a team, and by and large, they improved quite massively over the last few years. And at the end of the day, I can't take people who look at their cars under a microscope every day and say, oh, look at this, look at that, because at the end of the day, do you really look at your car like that every time you look at it? No, it's you put it on your shelf, and then that's where it sits for the rest of its life. You probably take it out for a couple of pictures, but that's about it. Can't crib about everything, because at the end of the day, like you very well said, someone's going to end up pulling a bad one. All you need to do is get online with your supplier, your dealer, and try and sort it out.
Communicate so that the brands know that what's going on, and they can take action maybe in the future when they release products. Maybe they need to add a little bit more adhesive to the tail light or spoiler, whatever it might be. The spoilers keep falling off.
And the thing is this, why do you get on social media and immediately start bashing the brands? Because you know that it's going to affect their sales. Now, when it affects their sales, you're not going to have money to put back into, fixing these problems, coming out with new models with better QC and all. They need that financial support as well. It's a two-way street. So don't go bashing them to the point where 100 other people don't want to buy Tarmac Works, because those people may not have the same experience you did. They may get a perfectly fine car, but you can always fix your problem by talking. And Felix of Tarmac Works and Glenn of Mini GT are very open. They're not the sort of guys who look down at their collectors and go, oh, you bought that car, that's your problem. Maybe you should sell it as an error. I said that people buy error cars from Hot Wheels. So if you're going to go around paying double or triple for a Hot Wheels that doesn't have a wheel, missing some windows, sometimes missing all its wheels, come on.
Right?
You
I think to me that's an artificially created thing, and I've always felt that way. To me, it's a defect. Like, I want something that's got all the wheels on there. I want to make sure that the car is right side up. Like, to me, especially in this collector, the higher end stuff, if I were to get something like that, I would probably return it, right? Like, I wouldn't see it as an error. I would be like, hey, this thing is broken. Like, can you help me with the replacement? One that looks correct.
And again, you get brands like TNV and that fat shame people by not putting their side mirrors and leaving it for us to put it on. It's not fun for a guy with chubby fingers like me to try to put on those tiny things on. So this is what they're doing to us. Whereas the new higher-end brands that we work with and we enjoy,
there must be some reason Tommy Tech does not put the mirrors on, because they're afraid that it might break off.
Well, a lot of the other newer brands that do high detail cars seem to have solved that problem by adding rubber mirrors on it. And it's worked. We're all fine with it. No one has said, "Oh no, I don't like this model because it's got rubber mirrors." We are quite happy to get rubber mirrors. So it's not that it hasn't been thought about and fixed. I think TVN is so set in their ways that and they have such a great following automatically because they've been around for a long time. So I don't think in their minds they think it's worth the added cost of adding these mirrors on, because I'm sure it is an added cost of getting someone to physically put them on and then put them in the box.